Hesh Sagafi, Liberty Home Mortgage. And what are we talking about today? We are talking about the fact that while I was driving into the office today, there was a tree sitting on top of a house. True story, okay? So the topic right now is the cost of home ownership. Every single person buying a home, especially if finances are tight, has to pay attention to this video. I'm not gonna be Debbie Downer or like ruin your day or make you not wanna buy a home. I'm gonna bring this to light for you so you understand the cost of home ownership. So here's what's happening. I'm driving in to the office. Of course, I live in the rock and roll capital of the world, Cleveland, Ohio. So I'm driving in, there's a bungalow, huge pine tree, fell over, and it was literally laying on top of the house, literally, okay, over where the family room is, and the tree was so tall that the tree went over the rooftop. That's how big this tree was. It was freaking huge. You know what I saw when I looked at that? I said, that's the cost of home ownership. You wanna know what I mean by that? And listen closely if you're looking to buy a home. Pay attention to this. The person living in that home, if it's a renter, you know what they do? They call the landlord and say, the pine tree sitting on top of the roof, it's gonna fall in and kill all of us. You're a jerk because this should never have happened. Lord knows it's your fault that this tree that was planted possibly before you were born, it's all the landlord's fault, and you better get out here right now and fix this right now. When you're renting and something in your house breaks, you call the landlord. The sink's backed up, the trash disposal's broke, the toilet's broke, there's a leak in the ceiling, there's a leak in the bathroom, there's a leak in the shower, the water bill's high, why is it like this? There's a tree sitting on top of my damn house. When I woke up, I saw it, okay? A million things there, all right? You call the landlord and you tell the landlord, get out here and fix it now, or I'm gonna do that. I used to have this one. My one friend rented out houses, and he said that the one tenant would mail him a check for the rent with a note that would say minus $25 for shoveling snow. So like when it snowed, because that's what it does here in the Midwest, when it snowed, the tenant would go shovel the driveway. Mind you, the landlord paid for the snow, but the tenant would say he went out there and shoveled and then take $25 off the rent, okay? When you rent, you could do things like that, I suppose, if you want, which that was insanity, but whatever, okay? What's the cost of home ownership? If the person who lives in that home owns the home, they couldn't call the landlord because they're the landlord, they own the home. You know who they have to call? They have to call somebody called Davy Tree. I mean, the tree, I actually wanted to go back and take a picture with my cell phone, but then I was thinking, if I post that online, like, is there some sort of like I'm posting somebody's house on public? I have no idea, okay? But ultimately, as I take a picture of this thing, is that they have to call Davy Tree today, okay? A tree removal service, like right now. They have to call it. They have to get somebody out there today. I got news for you. When you call Davy Tree and say, Hesh, but they have insurance. Oh, they have insurance? Absolutely. And their insurance company, State Farm, guess what? They'll call the customer service toll-free number. They'll get an adjuster out to that house. Yeah, they'll get an adjuster out to that house in the next 2, 3, 4, 5, 10 days. And when the adjuster comes out and looks at it, he'll say, man, this is horrible. We need to get some quotes to remove the tree. And by the way, when we get the quotes, then we'll cut the check to you. Okay, let's think about this, people. Go ahead and call your insurance company. By the way, your insurance premium is about to go up, but call the insurance company. It's gonna take a week before they get the money to give you to pay Davy Tree. You ain't letting the tree sit on top of your house for the next week. So what does that mean? You've got to come up with the money. When the pipe leaks, you've got to come up with it. When the sewer backs up and it's the city's fault, you've got to come up with it. You can call the city and complain all day and tell them you're going to sue them. Have at it. But while that thing's pouring raw sewage into your house, for God's sakes, you don't have time to deal with, it's going to take me a week to get the money for this. You have to come up with it. Home ownership is not just a monthly payment. I have a lot of people that say to me, Hesh, but we can afford $1,200 per month. Okay, but can you afford the pine tree sitting on top of the roof? Can you afford the raw sewage backing up into the house? Can you afford the sinks, the plumbing leaking or something like that? Better yet, can you afford the hot water tank exploding in the middle of the night in February when it's 2 degrees outside and there's snow on the ground? Can you afford all of that? The furnace going out on you. Can you afford that stuff? You don't have to replace the roof every year. You don't have to replace the furnace every year. You get a furnace today. I mean, years ago, they don't make them like they used to. You get a furnace years ago, that thing lasts 50, 60 years or for longer than we're here, longer than the eternities, right? You get a furnace today, it lasts for 15 to 20 years. So you're not buying this stuff all the time. But that's the cost of home ownership. If you're looking to buy a home, make sure it's not just the monthly payment that you can afford. You have to make sure if you can afford the overall cost of it. If there's any trees around your house, you might want to have the seller cut them down before you take ownership. That way it doesn't fall on your house when you own the house. But keep watching these videos. There's the cost of home ownership. I have 1,000 videos out there, not quite 1,000, over 500-600 of them. Subscribe to my page, pay attention to these. As real estate agents watching this, educate your buyers when they say, we can afford the payment, I don't know about anything else. Advise them correctly. These make you a better agent, these make you better buyers, better people getting financed, and better homeowners. So we'll catch you on the next one, and keep watching.